Welcome back, everyone. I'm Matt from Media Mad, and today we'll be taking a look at one of my all-time favorite movies, Tremors. A film from 1990 and directed by Ron Underwood, Tremors was the first film in a fairly large movie series about giant underground eating worms rising from the surface and eating its victims. There were even two separate TV series, one in the early 2000s and a follow-up in 2017 with one pilot filmed, but never got picked up unfortunately, and ultimately was cancelled. The idea for Tremors was born out of curiosity. The writers S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock, respectively, were in the Navy years prior, and asked themselves, what if there was something that wouldn't let us off this rock? On the surface level, Tremors is your basic monster movie, but there's a lot more to it. It's actually quite funny at times, especially due to Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward's excellent on-screen chemistry. We're off to a great start already, so without further ado, let's go ahead and dig our way into Tremors. I'm sorry. The film opens with our first protagonist, Valentine, played by Kevin Bacon, as he's pissing into the valley. He finds his partner Earl, played by Fred Ward, sleeping in the back of their truck. Rather than shaking Earl awake, Val decides to pull a prank on his slumbering partner.
You dumb shit.
This is just one example of the comedy in this movie, which oddly does come into play later on. Val and Earl are easily some of my favorite duos in any film. They're funny, charismatic, and are always bickering with each other in some of the funniest ways possible.
Well, I guess when I'm your age, I'll forget what I eat too.
After having breakfast, they get to work. Val and Earl are hired men.
Handyman, Earl. We are handymen.
Oh, sorry, handymen, and we see them engaging in mundane labor like building fences out in the middle of dipshit nowhere. As they decide on their next job, they go off-road and meet a college student, Rhonda, played by Finn Carter respectively. She's a seismologist and explains that her readings have been spiking recently, and she can't explain why. See, clearly it's just an earthquake. There are no other underground monsters or threats anywhere. Therefore, that's the end of the movie. Afterwards, Val and Earl pull into Perfection, a small town in Nevada, to talk with the townsfolk. Here we meet Bert and Heather Gummer, played by Michael Gross and Reba McEntire respectively. They're collecting bullets from the shopkeeper before heading to hunt. What they are hunting, I have absolutely no idea, but it's important to establish that they are gun people, and it is very important.
You're gonna have a heart attack before you get a chance to survive World War III.
We'll see.
It's okay, Bert. We'll just put you into cryosleep. You know, before long, you may upgrade from hunting dingoes or whatever it is you're hunting to alien life forms, just like Ripley from Alien. Val and Earl engage in more mundane activities like moving garbage and cleaning out septic tanks. As you can see, they're clearly getting tired of doing this work. But I mean, come on, there are worse jobs out there, aren't there? I guess they're in deep shit now. Or covered, at least. Frustrated, the two pack up their truck and head out for Bixby, but not before being stopped by a rather unusual sight. A man named Edgar sitting in a cell tower seemingly unconscious, but Val is surprised by what he finds at the top. Yeah, it might be a bit too late to do CPR for this one. Over the next several minutes, we see the townsfolk getting picked off one by one, yet there are no threats in sight. It isn't until Val and Earl realize the roads have been cut off that they come back into town, only to find something attached to their truck.
Oh, Bert, be careful.
Yeah, real. Where'd you get it?
I don't know he had it.
We find our characters at the shop discussing their next move. The roads are cut off and the phones can't reach outside the mountains. So what is the next course of action? Have someone go by horseback, of course.
Who's best on a horse?
So because I'm wearing a cowboy hat, that obviously makes me a cowboy. Huh, I had no idea. The following morning, Val and Earl head out in search of any townsfolk that may still be alive. They stumble upon a station wagon that was buried and decide the best course of action is to head straight for the mountains.
Must be a million of them!
Revealing the true horror of this movie, the one and only Graboid. These creature designs are just as kick-ass as they are iconic. When I think of monsters in general, these things come to mind almost instantly. This actually is one of my favorite aspects of Tremors. You may have noticed that at this point in the film, we're almost about maybe 40 minutes into the film, and yet they just now decide to show the monster, which I personally love this about the film. It reminds me a lot of something like Jaws, where they slowly build up to the creature's reveal, which, you know, to some might sound kind of redundant, but like, I like this slow build up because it just kind of makes us, you know, feel like, what is the actual monster going to look like? Because we're not expecting those tiny little worms that were shown earlier to be the actual monsters. No, I mean, like, we're expecting something bigger, but I like how they kind of build up to the big reveal, which is pretty awesome. I love that about Tremors. It's something that I've always admired. Val and Earl run like hell, jumping into a pit surrounded by stone. They panic and try climbing out, but staying in that pit ended up being a good thing.
Stupid son of a bitch. Knocked itself cold.
Rhonda meets up with the two of them, and after looking more at her graphs, she determines it's not quite over.
The way I figure it, there are 3 more of these things.
What?
No. You see, they saved the one monster for the first film, and then they saved, like, the multiplicity bullshit for the second movie. That's why this one monster is dead, and therefore, that's the end of the movie. Okay, I promise that's the last end credits joke. The characters are once again chased onto a rock where they remain stuck. It's here they discover the monsters must hunt by vibrations and sound. Before we continue, I just need to comment what a great setting that Nevada is for Tremors. It's this vast open landscape with plenty of space to run. However, because the monsters are so fast, it doesn't really leave the characters with much place to run. Sure, they can keep running for as long as they want to, but eventually it's going to catch up with them. It makes for interesting dilemmas that forces the characters to think of new ideas and new ways to escape the monsters. Because of that, the pacing never feels like it drags at all. It just keeps going and going. And I love the movie for that reason alone. We have yet another fun scene of the characters discussing where the graboids might have come from.
Okay, so they predate the fossil record, and we've just never seen one till now.
I vote for outer space.
Oh god, please not a Killer Clowns crossover. On a more serious note, I like that they don't explain the creatures all that much. Sure, the characters refer to them as graboids, but that's as far as they go with it. I'm glad that they don't explain their origins because it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme. What really matters at the end of the day is their survival. Enough time passes and our trio discovers some conveniently long poles near the base of the rock, so they take them and pole vault to safety. Such a simple moment, but this still makes me crack up all these years later. They all jump into Rhonda's truck and escape back into town. They warn everyone to get out of Perfection as the graboids could be on their way at any moment. They figure the best way to stay safe is to make it to the mountains as they're covered in rock. Before they can even put this plan into motion, however, the graboids make their arrival and start attacking. Rhonda gets tangled in some barbed wire and is slowly being pulled towards the beast. Armed with a pickaxe, Val comes to save the day.
None of your friends!
Or to engage in some naughty activities? Either way, they make it back inside, patch up some injuries, and are once again attacked before making it to the rooftop. Not long after, Bert and Heather make it back from hunting. They start cleaning some shells, and this obviously attacks a graboid to their location. The two just unload everything they have into the beast, but require much heavier firepower. This is arguably one of the most badass scenes in the entire movie, hell, the entire franchise as a whole. And mind you, this was all done with practical effects and it looks fucking incredible. I mean, this was over 30 years ago and it looks amazing. The characters know that staying on the roofs won't work forever, so they devise a plan to distract the graboids and run for a nearby cat that will pull a trailer with all the townsfolk in it. With all the characters gathered up, they make their way to the mountains and are caught off guard when the cat falls into a sinkhole.
Wait, look out!
After finding refuge on a nearby rock, again, they decide to go fishing. They take some pipe bombs that Bert and Heather made and throw them out in an attempt to lure the graboids to their location. And it works. With only one left, they use the same tactic as before, but of course the graboids learn quickly and as a result this tactic backfires. Once again, something that I love about the graboids here. They just learn on the spot and they get smarter and smarter as time goes on. And, again, one of those things that makes it more interesting because, they can't just keep using the same tactics against the graboid. They have to kind of grow and evolve just like they do. A very small detail, but it's something I've always appreciated about this movie. Val, Earl, and Rhonda are all vulnerable now, and Val knows this graboid isn't going to let them go so easily. So he makes a run for the edge of the valley and stands before the monster as it thrusts through the valley wall and falls into the canyon below, crushing itself to death.
It just suddenly hit me, Stampede.
Yeah, see? I told you it would come back into play later on. So ends our film. The town is safe, Val and Earl are about to make riches, and Val finally wins the heart of Rhonda over. I have watched Tremors countless times over the years. I loved it as a kid, and I still love it as an adult. It's a film that never gets old for me. And sure, it's a monster movie. There isn't much substance to it, but it's a damn good monster movie nonetheless. The practical effects, the score, the script, and the characters are all really well done here. Personally, this was the highlight of the series for me, and always will be. At the end of the day, Tremors is not exactly what I would consider like high-class cinema. Again, it's a simple monster movie, but it's a monster movie that in its own right was done very well. And that's why I think even if you're just a casual horror fan or monster movie fan, you should definitely seek out this movie. Don't expect it to blow you away or anything like that, but what it does right, it does very well. Let me know down in the comments below. Have you seen Tremors? Have you seen any of the sequels? And have you seen the TV show that it was based off of? Until then, this has been Media Matt, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.